film Infested 2023. Synopsis. Infested is a French horror film directed by Sébastien Vinacek, marking his feature film debut. The story follows Kaleb, a young man fascinated by exotic animals who acquires a venomous spider from a store. When the spider escapes and reproduces rapidly, the building where he lives becomes overrun by a deadly infestation, prompting the police to quarantine all residents inside. Critical analysis. Strengths. Suspenseful atmosphere. The film effectively creates a tense and claustrophobic environment, keeping viewers on edge throughout the story. Practical effects. The use of real spiders and practical effects enhances immersion and realism, avoiding excessive CGI. Social commentary. Beyond physical horror, the film addresses social issues such as xenophobia and marginalization, using the spiders as metaphors for human pests. Weaknesses. Character development. Some critics point out that characters could be more fleshed out, making it harder for the audience to connect emotionally. Predictable ending. Despite intense moments, the film's conclusion is considered predictable and lacking major surprises. Curiosities about Infested 2023. 1. Real spiders on set. Around 200 giant huntsman spiders were used during filming, which added a lot of tension and authenticity to the most frightening scenes. 2. Depiction of French suburbs. Director Sébastien Vinacek wanted to portray public housing communities in a different way, avoiding clichés of crime or comedy. He aimed to show the ordinary lives of these people, along with the difficulties they face. 3. Feature film debut. This was Vinacek's first feature film after previously working only on short films. The project caught the attention of producers and eventually made its way to Netflix. 4. Praised by Stephen King. Horror master Stephen King watched the film and said it was scary, disgusting, and well done, praising its ability to create real fear. 5. Allegory against xenophobia. The spiders serve as a social metaphor, representing how immigrants and minorities are often perceived as unwanted or threatening. The original title, Vermians or Vermin, reinforces this idea. 6. Pandemic reflections. The confinement of residents inside the building draws parallels to the COVID-19 pandemic, highlighting the neglect and isolation many marginalized communities suffered. 7. Recognition at film festivals. The film premiered at the Venice Film Festival's Critics Week in 2023 and was awarded at the Fantastic Fest in the United States, winning Best Film and Best Director. Lessons from Infested 2023. 1. Fear can bring different people together. Even with conflicts and distrust, the building's residents must work together to survive. It shows that in extreme situations, cooperation is stronger than differences. 2. Prejudice blinds more than real danger. While the spiders are a physical threat, the film also shows that prejudice and xenophobia work like an invisible infestation, eroding coexistence and trust. 3. Social exclusion has consequences. The forced isolation of the building mirrors how marginalized communities are often forgotten or treated as disposable, revealing deep inequalities. 4. Facing inner monsters is as hard as facing the external ones. Beyond the spiders, the characters must confront their own fears, grudges, and distrust, showing that psychological danger can be as suffocating as the physical one. 5. Life can emerge even in chaos. The spider metaphor reflects how, even in hostile environments, new forms of life adapt and multiply. It is a reflection on resilience and survival amid disaster. The film Infested 2023 had an estimated budget of €5 million and grossed approximately $2,400,000 in worldwide box office. Considering only the €5 million budget and the worldwide box office of approximately $2,400,000, Infested 2023 did not manage to recover the investment, resulting in a financial loss for the production. The film Infested 2023 received very positive reviews with a 95% approval rating from critics and an 82% approval rating from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes, being praised by both critics and viewers. Now, here's our opinion.
Honestly, I'm usually not a big fan of foreign films, so I wasn't very interested in watching Infested 2023. Besides having that typical international production look, it also dealt with a theme we've seen many times before: spider attacks. You know that feeling that the movie isn't going to bring anything new? That was exactly my first impression. Still, I decided to give it a chance because from the trailer, the special effects looked pretty impressive. At least in the trailer, they seemed well done. I won't lie, I had some prejudice against it being a foreign film, and also because I've seen plenty of spider-themed movies in the past, like the classic Arachnophobia in 1990. Nothing against international films, but when you're looking for a big-budget production with high-quality visuals and impactful action, Hollywood usually delivers that. The problem is that foreign films often arrive with ideas already explored by earlier movies, and that's exactly the impression I got from Infested. But putting my prejudice aside, I decided to watch the film to form my own opinion, and I was actually surprised. The special effects are really well done, the production paid attention to details, and the setting is convincing. The movie manages to create a tense atmosphere inside the spider-infested building, which is a credit to the art direction and cinematography. The characters are also interesting, especially the protagonist, who ends up causing all the chaos in the building, albeit unintentionally. He introduces a unique spider into his collection of animals, and from that point, the infestation unfolds. This initial conflict is simple, but works to drive the story forward. In terms of the plot, however, Infested doesn't offer much that's new. It strongly reminds me of the classic Arachnophobia, and that's no coincidence. The director openly drew inspiration from the 1990 film. The concept of a spider villain threatening a community is basically the same, and even with a new cast and modern technology, the sense of déjà vu is constant. Anyone who has seen Arachnophobia probably won't feel much surprise here. Back when Arachnophobia was released, movies with giant spiders were impressive, which gave the story a fresh impact. Today, even with modern digital effects, the premise doesn't have the same punch. That said, the film isn't bad at all. On the contrary, the production is well executed with attention to technical quality, suspense, and action. Everything seems carefully thought out, resulting in a visually pleasing experience. It's an interesting movie that pleasantly surprises anyone expecting something mediocre, and it does its job as entertainment. In summary, Infested is a film I would recommend, but with a caveat. If you've already seen Arachnophobia, don't expect something completely new. It delivers a well-executed story, solid special effects, and characters that work within the context of the film, but the originality of the plot is lacking. Still, for fans of suspenseful spider movies, it's definitely worth watching. That's all for now. Session closed. If all goes well, see you in the next video. Until then.